First episode, American Patriot Podcast. We have Zach. Is it okay? Because you told me your name was Zach.
Yes.
Your Instagram profile came up with something else.
Yeah. So
Thomas. Was it Thomas?
yeah. So my dad, I'm a Thomas Jr.
Oh, okay.
But everybody calls me by my middle name. So I know that it's either about a car warranty or somebody trying to sell me insurance if somebody says, "Hello, Thomas."
Oh no.
Yeah. So usually it's actually a good way to screen calls. So.
Well, because all your friends and stuff know you as Zach.
Yep. Exactly. That's how I know they know me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, Zach is the owner of Evil Water Trading Company.
Yep.
He's letting us do this podcast in his shop.
Well, yeah, this is the humble beginnings of Evil Water Trading Co. And Evil Water, in case you didn't know, is the translation of the word Parowan, which is a Paiute word, and it's the name of the town in which we reside. So it's a small town in rural Utah, and it's actually the same town in which I live and work, or at least did until this year. But yeah, I'm a school teacher, have been for 7 years. And yeah, I've been living and working here for a while.
Sweet. And time in service?
Yes.
Between the two branches?
Yeah. So I started out in the Marine Corps as an 0311. That's an infantryman. Back in 04 when I joined, it was right after high school. I was 17 when I signed the papers, and the summer after I graduated high school, there was about a year between me graduating high school and then leaving on a religious mission. And so I was like, well, what am I going to do with my life for this year? And construction didn't sound cool. So I decided I'd go play around in the dirt for a little bit and learn how to be an infantryman in the Marine Corps, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made. Mm-hmm. But did the Marine Corps Reserves for about 6 years. I took a little break in that service to drop to the IRR, which is the Inactive Ready Reserve, to go serve a religious mission for 2 years in Mexico, and then came back, finished out my contract. Was never deployed with those guys, and had about a 7-8 year gap in service, and finally convinced my wife that it'd be okay if I got back in. I missed the military life. A lot of people, especially enlisted guys, they get tired of it. And I understand, especially the active duty dudes, because there's the stupid games you have to play and the things you have to encounter and deal with in the military. But I really enjoy it. I've always really enjoyed the guys with whom I've served, and I wanted to get back in, especially since I hadn't had the opportunity to deploy yet. So it was an itch I couldn't scratch, and it was just gnawing at me. So finally convinced the wife, hey, can I get back in? She was like, okay, fine. I've been nagging her for years, and she finally conceded.
Yeah.
And it was cool. Got back in as a human intelligence collector and linguist, a 35 mic.
Okay.
And that's what I've been doing ever since. So about what was it? About 8 months after I got qualified as a 35 mic in the Army, I was deployed to the Middle East to CENTCOM, and spent some time in Kuwait, Syria, and Iraq. So a really neat experience. It was a challenging experience, but I really enjoyed the time I got to spend with the guys I was there with, and it's a little bit different in military intelligence jobs. But then it was in the infantry. But yeah, still had a great time. Love my guys. They're a good bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it easier to convince the wife to let you go back in because it wasn't the Marines and it was the Army?
That actually had something to do with it. In the Marine Corps, it was the reserve, so it's fed.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll hear this time and time again, but there were many times where it didn't seem like you were being taken care of.
Mm.
Like pay for some reason, it felt like 2.5 months while we were working on a workup to go to mobilize, and we hadn't been paid. And my wife and I, we were newly married. We were about to have a kid, and she was like, "There's got to be some changes.
Yeah.
Some changes need to be made."
Yeah.
So there really wasn't an option to do that. It was a mutual thing. It wasn't like, it wasn't anything like she was laying down the law or anything. But it just seemed like the right decision not to continue with the Marine Corps because of what we were having to deal with, just starting a family.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I've got a rather eclectic mix of careers, right?
Yeah.
So right after the Marine Corps, I actually sold phones for Verizon for like 4 years. It was a lot of fun, only because of the people with whom I worked.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that would be rough.
It would, dude. Dealing with the public in that context,
that's rough.
I was grateful when I took like a $20,000 pay cut to go work for the sheriff's office in Washington County,
just to get out of.
Yes. I was like, oh my gosh. Again, it's my environment, talking to people. I love talking to people. I love the interpersonal communication. I love the establishment and maintenance of relationships and building those client networks. I really enjoy that kind of stuff. But selling phones just was not.
Just blows.
Yeah.
So
it was not my
that,
thing.
like, out of a store, or was it like door to door?
Oh, it was out of store. Thank goodness, because dealing with the Southern Utah heat, going door to door. Those dudes who like go around selling magazines or whatever the frick they
door to door salesman,
dude,
summer sales guys.
Yeah, I'm selling doors door to door.
Yeah.
Those guys, I don't know. I don't know what they must be taking their vitamins, right? Because I couldn't do that crap. That is insane. Yeah, nope.
Were you just doing it down in Cedar, or were you? I
was in St. George. So my wife and I are both graduates of Hurricane High School down there in Hurricane, Utah. That is the correct pronunciation.
Yeah,
it is the correct pronunciation.
Yes.
Yeah, you only make that mistake.
Hurricane? No, it's not Hurricane. I can't stand it. It's like when people say Nevada.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's Nevada.
Or Zion.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
That's
how you know they're not from here.
Yeah.
So they're the colloquialisms and regional pronunciations of things, right? Where you can pretty much tell. Okay. Well, are you a good visitor or a bad visitor?
Yeah. So you went from Marines to Army.
Yep.
School teacher, cop.
Yeah.
Selling phones.
Yeah. So selling phones first, and then dropped that noise and went into the public safety genre of work. So I started out as a corrections officer with Washington County. That was a good time. Again, loved the people with whom I worked. Our shift was the best.
Yeah.
I will argue that forever. But I was working graves for about a year. and it was funny because I had been going to college and going to school part time. It's ridiculous because it took me about 8 years to finish my bachelor's degree.
Jeez.
But it's because I was doing a million things at the same time. So I was grateful. I've always been grateful for the institutions in I've used to gain degrees, and it's been they've been incredibly accommodating. It's been good, but I've been going to school part time, and I had acquired I had established a reputation of being someone who, I don't know, spoke a little bit better than the average Joe, or at least I tried to, just because I'd always kind of been a dummy. I don't know. I had to work harder for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I had a second grade teacher that told my mom, she's like, yeah, your kid's just stupid. So your kid's just stupid. So, and that's okay because we need ditch diggers and stuff like that. So in retrospect, I'm thinking to myself, well, there are several things wrong with what this woman has told my mom. One is the assumption that ditch diggers are dumb for some reason, or that you will be consigned or relegated to some sort of menial manual labor for the rest of your life or whatever. It was silly. And sometimes, whatever. It's
I don't think it'd go over so well nowadays.
Nah, man. I think she was kind of old for her time even then. But she was, that was kind of funny. In retrospect, I'm thinking about that, and as a teacher myself, I would never, ever say anything like that. Not simply because, I love the kids whom I teach. I've learned so much from them, and hopefully they've learned a ton from me. But mostly, I feel like being a teacher, and I'll get into how that all went down, but being a teacher has sort of softened the edges, I think, helped refine my character. I haven't always been the most patient. And, things like that are okay in the Marine Corps when you're going around knife handing people and, barking orders and stuff. But when you're dealing with the general populace, you can't just speak to everyone like that.
No.
My wife called it the butthole voice, and I totally get it. I'm just like, I get it. Yeah, and it takes some maturation and some, I think, some experience dealing with other people to understand that, you need to be able to adapt linguistically. You need to be able to adapt personality-wise. It's not necessarily faking it. Like, a lot of people will say, well, you're just faking who you are. Like, no, man. You have to be aware of other people's sensitivities.
You do.
You don't have to necessarily accommodate all of them, but in order to cohabitate a space in society, you need to be able to navigate those things well.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a big reason why a lot of guys that'll go in the military, staying for a little bit, they get out because they think it sucks. They can't, like, physically and mentally change to how society is. So we'll just go back in because that's what I know, and it's easier because you can talk to whoever you want, however you want, if you hold a certain rank, and everybody just knows, well, that's how the military is. So it's fine.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I appreciate my group now, where we're all a bunch of nerds, and we take pride in that, right? And it's not that we don't take orders, because we do, and we do well. We execute the mission. That is the primary objective, right? But we, generally speaking, uh, we do a pretty darn good job at communicating with one another. Generally speaking.
And these are all guard guys, right?
Yeah, and we're kind of known for, like, the guard is kind of loose.
Yeah.
And we have a reputation for being loose anyway, let alone MI guys.
Yeah.
Right? And not that we can't maintain professionalism, because we've got a reputation for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. It's just different.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I'm a traditional reservist. I've been for 5 years, so
yeah,
it's easier for those guys. I mean, trust me, they're still dummies in the reserve.
No, absolutely.
You know,
it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It is.
But we have an easier time understanding people more just because we have our daily lives and our daily jobs.
Yeah.
And so there's a big fine line between military and civilian life. And you have to learn how to bring those together. But now it's getting to the point where it's just too daggone soft.
Yeah.
And they're taking, even active duty side, I see it when I go down there for orders. It's just too soft.
Yeah. Well, I think generally speaking, there is a difference between, people will call the old guard.
Yeah.
And but this has kind of been an argument every preceding generation has ever made about the succeeding generation, right? Where they suck.
Yeah.
They've gotten soft. And the reality of the matter is that it's actually supposed to be that way. And I have to make a case for this. So every preceding generation lays the foundation for more and more prosperity, generally speaking, right? And the consequence of more prosperity is typically you don't have to work as hard to get what you got before. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so really you're thriving off of the work and effort that came before you always, right? And you want that. You don't necessarily, as a parent, I've got 5 kids and 1 on the way. And it's funny because I've thought about that too. Like, I want my kids to have what they need, first and foremost. I'd also like for them to have a few of their wants.
Yeah.
And if I can provide that without making them spoiled or act like brats, then I'm going to try to do that. But that inherently sort of leaves you open to the fact that they will not have to struggle as much as you did potentially. Yeah. So you sort of have to artificially provide challenges, not necessarily being a jerk, but just providing opportunities for the kids to grow and experience adversity, which is actually a pretty challenging task. But parenting in general is challenging. But it's pretty interesting. But I understand what you're saying there too, in that there's a time and a place to speak with authority and command, right? And I think nowadays there may be a little confusion with when that's appropriate and when it's not. And maybe there are folks, subordinates in particular, who feel like they need to be asked pretty please, with a cherry on top before they'll actually go and do anything, or go and execute the mission. With the combat arms guys, that's not typically the case. Combat arms dudes are typically squared away, and they'll get things done, and they will actually respond well to that command presence. In other areas, support roles, you see that other mentality a little bit more.
Yeah.
You do not thrive in an environment like combat arms if you don't understand your place.
Yeah.
Like you need to know your role,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you need to stay in your lane and you need to execute the mission because that's the most important friggin' thing in your life at that moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You ever see any of that in your job?
All the time.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
It's always like I'd say at least 2 about every shot that I've seen. So you gotta be like super soft with them. You raise your voice one little bit and they're like they run their mouth, they're like jumping chain of command, going like straight to the shirt or like chief or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like grown ass dudes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I haven't really seen that. Well, not within my shop. So combat engineering through the Red Horse unit where I'm at. We're all basically construction guys, and a lot of us do it on the outside. And so there's that roughness within the military and the roughness out in the field too.
Oh yeah.
You can't be soft.
Mm-hmm.
If you're soft in construction, you're done.
Yeah.
I actually have a guy that I work with right now. And he's a little softy, and he didn't like that. I told him he stunk at work, and dude, he freaking called the boss up and was crying to him. And he comes to me and he's like, "Yeah, so and so was, crying. I mean, complaining that you told him that he stunk." I was like, "Freaking stinks."
It's literally what you're supposed to do.
What do you want me to tell him? Like,
showing up
it's like
that.
a dude has a booger hanging out of his nose. You want me to tell you, or you want me to let you walk around with it
let
like
you go
all day? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've seen a little bit of that in my unit. Definitely the new generation of airmen that come up. When they don't get their way, they buckle down and cry, and they'll go straight to the shirt or to the commander. And our leadership right now is not the best, and they will sit there and just be like, "It's okay," and just call them. Like, what are you doing? We're supposed to be trained to fight and trained to kill, and it's a military for a reason.
Yeah.
If you're doing this, that's not how it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's a load of junk.
Yeah.
You just need to get them out, honestly.
Yeah.
There's
well,
a place for it.
And it's like a whole process because you can't just. I would say there's like you have to start like the lowest level, like LOCs, like LOCs, LORs, and then just like work your way up, and it's like a whole process until like we know this dude's like an actual problem, but it's gonna be like it's like a time process, like a matter of time. So if something actually happens to that person, that should happen.
Yeah. By that time, they're already about to ETS out. You might as well just let them just
maybe
stay.
Sometimes depends. But people also use that soft thing to like get out of work, and because like you're active, you're still getting paid the same as everybody else, and it's like they're just gonna skate, try to get out, work as much as they can, not do jobs, run off. Happens all the time.
Yeah. I mean, when there's serious things going on, like somebody's family member dies or a dog dies or something that's legit, like you need to stay home and
like,
collect
that's
yourself.
That's like a legitimate reason. Though.
Yeah.
When you're doing it consecutively every day for.
Man, I actually credit the Marine Corps especially, but even the Army. I credit the military in general for my ability to take criticism and then try to change whatever it is that needs to be changed in order to better myself, right? To fit the needs of the mission. And I think that still exists for the most part. Just getting back from a course I attended recently, I greatly appreciated the candor with which I was given criticism and guidance on certain tasks, because without that candor, there would be a lack in clarity.
Yeah.
So, and this is the thing, is that people confuse candor, being straightforward, for being rude, and I think that's uniquely American. That oversensitivity. I don't know. There are probably some people out there who would disagree, but generally speaking, Europeans, and this is going to piss people off, but Europeans are pretty, the ones that I've come in contact with, freaking Germans, the Danish, they're all pretty straightforward about stuff.
Yeah.
And you can get offended, but nobody freaking cares.
No.
So you change and then move on. Or you're just like, okay, well, I guess we're not friends.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Those things definitely help sculpt a person for sure.
No, absolutely.
You
Well,
know-
and there's clarity. There's
Yeah.
understanding in being straightforward.
Yeah.
You don't
can't-
have to be a jerk.
No, you can't beat around the bush.
No.
Like, oh, man,
Yeah.
your work here is not so great, but we're going to get better at it and we're going to help you to do. No, dude, you suck at your job.
Yeah.
Fix it or you're fired. There you go.
Yeah.
I think that's how I was raised with
Yeah.
my dad, my grandpa, my uncle. It was, you're going to get the job done.
Yep.
You're going to play later. And if you suck, we're going to tell you suck.
And you're going to do it again.
You're going to do it again.
Yep.
You're going to do it again. They're
Yeah.
going to let you mess up, and then they're going to teach you a lesson about how to do it the right way.
Yep.
And then they're going to make you redo it.
Uh-huh.
So you learn how to not do that again because it sucked to redo.
Yep.
And then now you're going.
Yep. That was me and doing dishes when I was a kid.
Oh,
Freaking hated that crap.
can't stand it.
Yep.
Can't stand it.
Doing anything as a kid was just terrible.
Yeah.
No, I think it was funny too because growing up, my dad or my mom, both of them, they're incredibly industrious people. My parents, and I owe a lot of my understanding of work ethic and all of that to my parents.
Mm.
And my mom, she was incredibly successful with just arts and crafts stuff growing up in Southern California. And that's right, California. Yeah, I know, man. So in Southern California, she was really quite successful in selling a lot of her crafts. She would build birdhouses and signs and just stuff that you would, the accoutrement that you would have all over a home, right? Yeah. She would make that stuff, and she was incredibly successful. The consequence was that there would be piles of sticks and what looked like rubbish just all over the place. And my parents, much to our chagrin, would essentially command us to move these piles of stuff just every week. We would just move piles of stuff, the kids, and for no apparent reason. And it would really just irritate all of us. But that's how it was growing up. And I don't know if there was some sort of like ulterior motive, like, hey, we're going to teach these kids how to work. I don't know. Yeah. Whatever, it worked. Because I don't know. I think that, I'm the oldest of 9, and 7 of those 8 siblings are sisters, and we all are pretty industrious and relatively hardworking. So, yeah, it's I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta, and that's something I've noticed is kind of hard to come by too. Is just work ethic, and it's not just, but generally speaking, it's kind of hard to find folks that will put their shoulder down and go, right? It's kind of weird. Being the sole provider in our family right now, and will be for the foreseeable future, because my wife has elected to be the caretaker, the homemaker, and she does a phenomenal job, even though she's got a degree in accounting. Yeah. So she's actually responsible for doing this wall back here.
That looks good.
Yeah, she did a great job. But being a single income household, it necessitates me doing the thing. Yeah. Like, I need to be the dad. I need to be the provider. I need to be the father. I need to be the husband and do those things. And I'm not saying that I do them well all the time, but I'm going to figure it out as I go. And there is no choice. I don't have a choice. Yeah. I've already made that choice. when I decided to get married and have kids.
Mhm.
I will do this thing. I am assuming this role and all the responsibilities that go with it. And happily so. I am perfectly content in that role and in those responsibilities. I really do take pride in being able to do that for my family. So, but it's hard finding folks that have
That
a strong work ethic. Yeah, it's
You
weird.
you got the guys that wear stay-at-home dad shirts now.
Well, if mom's making $150K,
That's different.
I don't know, man.
I told my wife, I said, if you ever make over 150 to 200, I will gladly stay home.
Yeah.
Stay home, Dad. But yeah.
Y'all be doing that OnlyFans now.
Yeah.
Making that bank, selling feet pics and stuff.
I always make jokes like that. Start selling feet pics. We need to make some more money. Heard about you, your story, who you are, what you do, military. Okay. Colby, who are you? What do you do? Where are you from? Why are you here?
Just hanging around.
Just hanging around.
Nah, Colby. Been helping Noah out for a long time. People have been following him. Probably see me around at all the events and everything.
Had to fight for this spot, didn't you?
Yeah. No, just genuinely just tried helping you out best I could. Never looked at getting anything in return. Always paid for my stuff. Always offered me stuff for free. And I was just like, now I'm going to pay for it, help the homie out. And I was just like, there's a SHOT Show. And then you're like,
It's your birthday. It's your birthday.
No, it wasn't my birthday.
I thought it was your birthday.
No,
So
I went to SHOT Show and I was walking around. I texted you. I was like, I'm about to meet Kyle Rittenhouse.
Oh yeah, you met
then
Kyle
you're like,
Rittenhouse.
dude, if you get Kyle Rittenhouse, what was it, a shirt or something?
Yeah, I was like, get Kyle Rittenhouse.
You're like, I'll give you, I'll bring you on AP or whatever.
Mm.
I was like, I mean, I do what I can, but it was like a 3-second interaction. So it's like, and then there was like 4 guys in the line, like in front and behind me, that was like trying to pitch ideas to him. I'm not gonna be that guy.
Yeah.
It's not the time or place. And then when you texted me a little bit after that, you're like, how would you feel about it? And I was like,
I thought it was around your birthday.
no.
When's your birthday?
It's like January. My birthday's in October. It was really
I said it was a late birthday present. I think so. I don't know.
You never said
But it was just out of the blue.
It was. I was at SHOT Show when you texted me. But yeah, and then active duty Air Force. I do weapons. 2W1. I was on F-16s for 3 years. Been on HH-60s for a little over what, 2?
Are you in your second contract or your first?
I was still my first.
So what, 6? Yeah, so
I'm almost to my 6-year mark. So my contract will be over in November, but I extended.
So you're at 5.5 total?
I'm over that point.
Over 5.5, so you've been with them for like 2?
Ish,
2.5?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah. So you're active duty?
Yeah.
With a 6-year contract?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can do 6 or 4.
Let me tell you something. The Air Force is the only friggin' branch that would probably everybody be like, yeah, I'm cool with a 6-year.
Mm. Yeah.
Everybody else is like looking for 2, 3.
Yeah. What's your reserve contract?
Oh no, 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
6 across the board for reserves in general.
Well,
right?
But that's not entirely. So, and this is something that whoever of you are thinking about getting in, understand there are different kinds of contracts.
Yeah.
But I knew dudes who had like a 3-year reserve contract or
I wish.
Yeah, no, seriously, right? Like these are just things I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
And peacetime military is different from wartime military, and I would imagine with the recruiting crisis that we're experiencing, they'll be making deals all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
get your Hellcat
deals.
Yeah, deals. So yeah, think about that. Yeah, that's freaking crazy. I didn't know you could have a 6-year active duty
Yeah,
contract.
I chose
starting
that
out.
over a 4 because I was like, I don't know what I want to do at the time, but I've always wanted to do something military. My cousin, she was a military police, well, she still is, Air Force as well, and she was always doing all this cool shit, and I was like, I want to do that,
Mm-hmm.
like going to all these places and then
Yep.
whatnot, and so I did it, and then yeah, I did 6 years. Here I am, contract's almost done. Still don't know what I want to do. I got so many different interests and like paying off a bunch of stuff. Just still trying to decide.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be a lifer.
I don't
Guarantee.
know. We'll see
Guarantee
what
it.
happens. I don't know. I don't know yet. Still going with the flow.
So how is like lateral movement within the Air Force? Is it pretty easy to like get different jobs that are not necessarily a part of your current MOS, but would be cool to do? Like
So like cross trained to like
yeah, like embassy duty.
It
Like with
depends,
the
right?
Marine Corps, you got like embassy duty, where your primary MOS is like infantryman, right, or whatever, and then maybe you get selected to go do something else, like drill
Yeah,
instructor or
we
drill
have those.
sergeant.
Yeah,
and
that stuff happens
It's
all the
just
time.
special,
okay.
special duty.
Special duty. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much like the same.
I think
process and
they
whatnot.
just changed the cross training process though. I think from what I heard, because I want to cross train over into like more aircraft stuff because I'm going to school for that. They told me that no first term airman can cross train. So you're on your second contract.
That makes sense.
But they just changed it, and with the crap they're going through trying to recruit people, I think they're gonna fudge a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Maybe.
Because they're like letting neck tattoos and crap in now. Really? So it started with.
I mean, it's just a little like 1 inch, but I mean, I've only seen like one person that actually
Yeah.
did it, and it's just like something
It's just
stupid.
ridiculous. But it
They're
started.
just testing the water.
Yeah, they're just gonna test it real quick. But it started with the shot thing. So
Mhm.
everybody with the shot. Everybody got the shot. People that didn't get the shot got kicked out. Well, then all of a sudden
That
they
sucked.
dumped the shot.
That was
People were able to come back,
That was so stupid.
and now nobody wants to join because they saw all that crap.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're having a hard time keeping people in.
Yeah.
And then now with China,
Nobody wants to
it's
go.
like, all right, nobody wants to go to war with China.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff. I mean, I don't know, man. I think that it's still. I love it. I love the environment. I love the opportunity that I have to be able to do some meaningful work. Not all of it is meaningful,
Yeah.
or at least it doesn't feel that way. My friggin' motor pool vets out there, like I understand that it's not all glamorous and cool. And I mean, even the cool stuff, dude. Those guys popping up out of the water with all their kit, it looks freaking sexy.
Mhm.
But you don't know what kind of hell they had to go through to even get to that position.
Yep.
Like you don't get it. People they don't get it.
No.
You have to deal with a lot of suck.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, man. I would probably be described as a little bit too hua when it comes to stuff. But nah, man, I look at problem sets like in in the East and everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think of it as an adventure, as an opportunity to do some good.
Yeah.
But yeah, not everybody has that opinion for sure nowadays.
It's like a love-hate relationship type.
No,
deal.
absolutely.
Yeah. I'm in that boat right now. Just because I went through the COVID stuff, I didn't get the shot. They kicked me out for so long verbally, and then they called me back. I lost benefits, and now they just want to act like it never happened.
Mhm.
When leadership literally drug me through the dirt for
Mhm.
6 months, and like they wouldn't care about you anymore. When I would go in, it was you have unvaccinated meetings you need to go to all day. Oh, we can't send you here while everybody else is going to go here.
Yeah.
And it was like, you're really segregating me because I don't have the shot. Are you kidding me? And then one day, oh, you need to put staff sergeant on. Well, I don't have the vaccine or anything. Oh,
Yeah.
go home.
Mm-hmm.
6 months later, oh, hey, all the COVID stuff is dropped, so you can come back. And then, like, it's nothing.
There's a lot of guys that are frustrated, and for good reason, right? that was just a bummer for so many people.
Yeah.
I know of a few. Fortunately, there have been many that were not allowed to come to training that have since been allowed back.
Mm.
But there are guys who wouldn't have received the shot, and were just like, man, they were worried about losing the benefits. They were worried about, they say it wasn't coercion.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But there were a lot of people who felt like their freaking hands were tied, and I felt bad for this one guy who basically waited until like the very last minute, and I think it was the next month, within the next 3 months perhaps, where they had dropped the entire mandate, and I was like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry. And I was overseas when all of that stuff was going on, so it was. I'm not going to liken it to prison because I know that's a miserable experience, but it sucked.
Yeah.
It was a bummer for a lot of folks, especially as you got closer to the flagpole. There was even a moment where we were eating chow at the DFAC, and there was this commander that walked through the chow hall without a mask, mind you, reprimanding subordinates because they weren't putting on their mask between bites.
But he had no mask on.
He had no mask.
Oh.
So obviously he didn't recognize the irony in what he was suggesting. But I think that sort of epitomized the sheer ridiculousness that I think everybody felt. Well, not everybody. And certainly me, I remember thinking, holy crap, this is legit because of all the stuff we were hearing.
Yeah.
And I remember being legitimately concerned, and I understand, at least in a layman's sense, the science behind inoculation, and I understand it to be good to go. And that'll probably piss some people off too. But but I'm bummed that I did feel coerced in a sense. And I actually commended dude. There was a guy with whom I worked over there who held out. He did not give in, man. And he was excluded from when we finally got the opportunity for some semblance of libo. He was excluded. He didn't get to participate in anything.
Wow.
But he's like, nah, man. He stuck to his guns, dude. And I thought that was the coolest thing in the world.
And now is he still in?
Yeah.
He's all right.
He's still in, man. It's like, holy crap. I mean, he's salty.
Oh, yeah.
He is one salty dude, but I love him, man. He's a great guy. But the fact that he had the cojones to be like, yeah, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
So there's definitely some salt towards the military, towards my unit.
Lots of salt.
It's like a big old block of salt.
Yes.
When I go in.
It's probably saltier than the salt flats up there.
It is.
Yes.
It is saltier. But I'll tell you what, I had bad attitudes going in ever since that. But when I went on this TDY to Georgia, dude, it changed everything.
Cool.
People I was there with, there was so much camaraderie and so much love for these people that it changed my mind about the military, because this is what it's supposed to be like. From boot camp to now. Boot camp was the first part of it. This TDY, or boot camp tech school, and then this TDY really brought it together and showed me just because your unit sucks doesn't mean that people do. And there's a family there, and there's a bond, and you just got to find them. Well,
and see, that's the thing, is that, and that's one of the things I love most about the military lifestyle, is that an experience is the camaraderie that is developed with your guys in the unit. The environment can suck, and often does. The mission can be miserable. The command can just
Yup.
the command will make or break the morale in a given unit. But even in the absence of good command, your buddies will always make the experience that much better. And the gallows humor, the very subtle jabs at the inept, right? The incompetence, is will always be one of the best things you ever experience. At least that's been my experience in the military. But yeah, man, it's always been the people with whom I work that have made the experience better. In spite of. But I can tell you, dude, like honestly, and I'm it's funny because every training I go to, every experience I've had, deployment or otherwise, if I'm around people who are not from the Utah Guard, I'm like, okay, just think about your options, and then when you're ready, come talk to me. I'm not a recruiter, but I can honestly say that my experience in this organization has been phenomenal. It's because I have good leadership. Every single one of my every single step in my chain of command is friggin' amazing. And I'm not being sycophantic. I really do admire the folks with whom I work and for whom I work. So yeah, and I think that shouldn't be rare, but I have a feeling that it is. From the people with whom I've spoken at these different things, it appears to be rare. I mean, it could be that I'm surrounded by a bunch of whiners, but I don't think that's the case. I don't know. I think there's something to be said about that. And for the most part, I'm not familiar with the statistics currently with Utah Guard, but from what I've seen with my own unit, retention is pretty darn good. And I think it has to do with the fact that to be honest with you, I look forward to going and training every month. I look forward to being with my buddies, and for me, even though we're working, even though we're sweating, we're in the motor pool, I really enjoy their company, and it's all the way up. Like, so yeah, even first sergeant. So
my first sergeant wears parachute pants that don't fit him. I'll tell you what, it's worse.
It's funny, man. No, our entire organization is pretty darn good.
That's good.
Yeah, man. I'm fortunate.
And then another thing is too with the camaraderie aspect to it. It's the harder the work is, the closer you get with the people around you.
Yep. Absolutely.
Because it's like when I was on 16s, there's a lot more work, and Fridays it was always the worst. And then every Friday we'd change at work, be all dirty and stuff, go down to Fremont, and just party it up all together. And then I get to HH60s, super relaxed, super chill, not much going on, and it's like nobody hangs out with anybody.
That's a bummer.
Like nobody. I mean, people do, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
That's how it was for me out in Georgia. Like my shop is cool. We're all electricians. We're cool with each other. We hang out. But when I went out to Georgia, dude, I brought my Nintendo Switch, and I had Super Smash Bros. On there and Mario Kart. I had 8 to 10 people in my room every single night after work.
That's why, because you had something.
I did have something. That's the only thing people had. But we were slaving in the dirt. It was all dirt work. So we were prepping a pad for a kitchen that was out in Georgia. but we were slaving all jobs in engineering and just dirty, muddy. It was because it rains all the time down there. Hot, sweaty, shoveling, and just dying. And every night, dude, 10 people were coming over to my room, drinking, playing Smash Bros. And it was just like a bond just built. And we're all from different shops.
Yeah, man.
Never seen each other before. And we've been at this unit for 5 years. Never came across each other because we're all in different spots. And it just like built this group that's just like tight now.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that with the military that you don't get in a lot of other places is just the eclectic group of people. You have people from everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, the Guard is a little bit different because it's regional, right? It's specific to each state. So you're gonna, if the state is largely homogenous, you're probably gonna have a homogenous group of people in the Guard. But even then, the Guard, in my experience, has been pretty diverse.
Yeah.
And I think in the military in general, which is an incredibly healthy thing, being able to look and at other people's perspectives, be able to see you are hanging out with everybody, anybody and everybody. And it doesn't matter where they're from, what they look like. They could be dumb as a rock or a complete nerd, but you will be kicking it with these dudes. And it's because of the experience you're having.
And you're lifelong friends too.
No, yeah, absolutely. And you would have had nothing in common with these individuals prior to the military experience.
Nope.
And no, that's one thing I definitely appreciate. And I'm always taking it with everybody just because I'm always the resident DD. So I am the homie that gets everybody home.
Awesome.
But no, that is one aspect I think that I missed a lot being out, and that gap was in service. But yeah, man, it's awesome.
I see that now more than ever. Dude, literally, this was my first TDY in 5 years. I've never gone anywhere else other than doing it down at Nellis. And just this one just showed me like there's such a tightness and a bond built outside of the civilian side. Like you have that, like him and I have that. I have some buddies, we'll hang out here and there, but these guys, it's tight. And I know when, like, I look forward to going back and hanging out with these guys and talking about, whatever we were doing out in Georgia or whatever we're doing when I go down to see them. And it's just way different than, I work with these guys at work every single day in my civilian job, and then I go home to my wife and then I see them again, and we don't ever hang out outside of work. These guys are like, I look forward to going to work to hang out with you, and I know when we're done at work, we're continuing through and going out and hanging out. It's just different. Yeah.
Well, and I know that on the civilian side, it's weird. There has never been that same level of camaraderie. And really, there is nothing like the Marine Corps. And it's hard to even compare what it's like in the Corps versus what it's like literally everywhere else.
Yeah,
he's one of those guys.
Yeah, man. It's real.
Yeah.
It is just different.
Yeah.
Those guys. Yeah, it's when people say it's a cult.
It's a cult.
No, it is.
The Marine Corps is a cult.
It is. It is. It is the best, most lethal cult in the world. I freaking love it.
Best uniforms too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'll give it to them.
No, absolutely. No, so I definitely contrast that with everything else I experience, and I definitely have a good relationship with the folks in my unit, and but it's not like it was in the Corps.
It's a brotherhood.
And I don't think, it's a brother. It'll never be. I don't think anything's gonna be, match that.
Yeah.
But no, man, and as you get higher up in the civilian world, you become more and more isolated. I think. I mean, you still have a wonderful group of people with whom you work, and hopefully that's the case, right? And it's a team, and just because they're not in the military doesn't necessarily mean that they don't know how to work as a team.
Which is different.
It is. It's just different.
It's just different. And that's why I love like companies that'll do full veteran owned and operated companies, because they want that camaraderie that they had when they were in service, and they just bring it to the company that they have, like Black Rifle. A lot of their guys are veterans and were in, and you see in all their videos, they're just hanging out and kicking it, and just like you did back in service. And they all come from different branches.
And backgrounds. Yeah,
different branches, backgrounds, past. It's awesome.
Another thing, like being in the military, is like these people that you have, like, that are so different from you, they'll always have your back no matter what with like any issue. But like civilian side, it's like somebody's quick to like stab you in the back.
Yeah,
you think you trust them, and it's like,
and they're just like turning their back on you so fast, dude. That's another thing I love. Like outside of the military, someone says something slick to you, and one of your coworkers is there, they're freaking turning around and walking the other way. Someone says something slick to you in the service, all your boys are right there. What's up? You got a problem? We'll handle it real quick.
Yeah, it's funny, man. It's I don't know. I feel fortunate because my experience with every single one of not every single one. There have been a few exceptions, but in the civilian world, I feel like I've been a part of really good organizations, and like the school district for which I work and have worked for a while, I feel like we're doing really good work. I've had the privilege of working under competent leadership.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, generally speaking, I feel like I'm taken care of. It doesn't mean that life doesn't suck sometimes, but yeah, I'm grateful for those little opportunities. But I do know that it's not the case for everybody.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, it's just different. I am fortunate. I'm working with a bunch of very talented, incredible people here.
Yeah.
But
heck yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well, so we heard your story. Noah Valentine, owner and CEO. 85% owner of American Patriot Clothing Company. Started this company 5 years ago. It's been 5 years now.
No, you're the one that started it before I met you.
When was the Vegas shooting? 17?
I can't remember.
End of 17, so I started 18. No.
Yeah, it wasn't 17 because I got here in
I started 18. Before I enlisted, and I enlisted in 18. So 5.5.
Because I think the shooting happened when I was in tech school.
18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So around 5.5 years to start this company. Brought Colby on a year, 6 months ago.
Yeah, it was January.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was like
started on January. Been in the Air Force Reserve for 5 years as a combat engineer. We're just now starting American Patriot Foundation, which is going to be a 501c3. Colby's on that as well as vice president. It's a foundation that raises money for veterans and their children to gain college scholarships and to help them with a little extra boost financially for college. What else? Born and raised Las Vegas, Nevada. Moved out to Utah 3 years ago. I live in Parawan with my wife and our little puppy. Met Zach 4 months ago.
I think so. It was when I first started this thing. So in February, yeah.
So met Zach in February. He's been kind enough to partner with me and let me put my shirts and stuff in here.
So come check it out. He's also doing I don't know if it's not a giveaway. It's like you spend $100 in the store, you get the chance to come out with us and shoot
the Beast.
Yes.
If you spend $500 or more, you automatically get entered in to come out and shoot this with us.
Yeah.
Any items that you purchase in his store that say Evil Water, he'll give you a discount on American Patriot shirts. We'll finalize that later.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be doing some shoots here soon. Shout out to Gannon, our photographer, for taking pictures of our clothing, his shop. Anytime we go out, anytime we do anything, he's there.
They were hot, bro.
They were sick.
good.
Yeah, they looked
were
good.
dope.
Yeah, man.
They were dope. Shout out to my buddy Josh that works for Enola Gay. They hooked us up with all the smoke grenades and what do you call it? Pyrotonics. Is that what you said?
Pyrotechnics?
Pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
Anytime we do a shoot, they hook us up with smoke grenades. We trade stuff for them. What are you laughing at?
When you had that little flashbang from him.
Oh yeah.
You thought it was a smoke grenade.
He told me about
terrible.
this. Like, holy crap! I almost lost his digits.
We were out doing a photo shoot a few months back, and I told my buddy to put some flashbangs in there just because I wanted to see them. I didn't read it. They looked the same as the smoke grenades, and it was a little breezy. And I go, let's test out one to see where the breeze is going, how bad it is. And so I pulled the pin on it, and I'm holding it, and it starts, sparking, doing whatever it's gonna do. And I'm holding it, I'm like, it's not really smoking.
Thought it was a dud.
I looked at it, and then I was like, I think this is a dud, and I hold up, thunk, and it just blew my hand. Didn't blow my hand up, but blew out of my hand. Luckily, they don't blow apart like normal flashbangs. It blew out the bottom, and it just like burned my finger a little bit, and my hand was all black, and it thudded in my chest, and I was shaking for about an hour. And
you were just like,
yeah, definitely. I needed a cigarette after that one. That was, yeah.
I should have got that on video, dude. That was funny.
It was so bad. But yeah. So that's basically us. We're gonna be doing podcasts, probably one, two a month, maybe. We'll see how we feel. But thank you for letting us set up shop here and doing the podcast here. Shout out to Coors Light because we're not sissy liberals and don't drink Bud Light. And if you do drink Bud Light, you should probably stop.
The drinking Coors before that all went down too.
Yeah.
So it's not like bandwagon.
Yeah, we were drinking Coors before that.
You were cool before it was cool?
I was cool before it
Oh,
was
okay, sweet.
The mountains were blue all the time before that happened. We're going to be at the July Jamboree tomorrow. I'm pretty sure this video will be out after that. So, yeah, if you didn't come out to our booth, whatever. If you did, cool, thanks. Definitely check out Evil Water Trading Company in Parowan, Utah. Check out their Instagram. You can hit up their address on there. Come check them out. Support your local gun dealer.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and the thing is that we provide other stuff besides firearms and things. We want to be kind of a stop for outdoor stuff. So yeah, it's a modest shop. We're looking at growing, and it's going to be slow because we're not doing anything on credit. So it's slow, man. But yeah, support some local shops, and yeah, we also do firearms training, and I'll get some guys out here that do that too. And yeah, and if you've got topics you'd like to hear us talk about,
comment,
yes,
DM, email, text.
Yep, all the things.
Tell us in person when you see us. First episode, military talk, camaraderie, and
a little bit about
backgrounds, who we are, and the companies.
Yeah, man.
So that's about all I gotta say about that.
Yep, it's been fun.
It was pretty fun.
It was pretty fun.
I can't say it. Real fun.
It was pretty fun. Definitely hit up Zach on his Instagram. Come in, buy some stuff.
Yes.
Go out and shoot the big one with us.
Yep.
Have some fun, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Deuces.